So everyone, welcome back to Lost Records Journal, Play One Virtual's Lost Records Focus podcast. Obviously, I'm Adnan Reyes. I'm one of your co-hosts. Adam Evolt is here, our other co-host.
I'm the other one. I've stumbled onto this podcast and I've become the other.
You are the other, and obviously because we just had Amelia Sargson on doing her wonderful interview about Nora, and obviously we could not forget about Olivia Lepore coming back on because she is back here and she's also here to answer your questions. Obviously, Olivia is motion capture and voiceover for Swann Holloway. Olivia, welcome back.
Hi, thank you for having me back.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure having you back on here. We're very excited to have you back on here. Obviously, loads of people submitted questions that we'll kind of get into, but we had an absolute blast speaking to you the first time, and we knew that we wanted to get you back on as well. So,
Pineapple Pizza Defender, we had to give you back on, you know.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Actually, Olivia, before we start as well in the introduction part as well, I was going to ask you something. Me and Adam were debating this on another podcast episode, and we thought this is something Olivia Lepore needs to give her insight into.
Okay.
Socks. Do you wear them in bed? Do you not wear them in bed? What do you think of people who wear socks in bed? Because Adam was like, these people are psychopaths.
If you wear socks in bed, you're a psychopath, yeah.
Okay, I don't in the summer, but we have pretty brutal winters
I was
here.
about to say, you're in a different plane in winter, so.
Yeah, so we have brutal winters, so, like, if I'm really cold, like, sometimes my feet are determining my body temperature, and if the feet are frozen, the rest of me is frozen, so
yeah.
Sometimes there's socks, but in the summer, no.
No, absolutely not. Like, that's the thing, like, in winter, because I did winters in North Dakota, and in Fahrenheit, I face negative 55 degrees Fahrenheit winters. So, yeah, socks in those winters for sure.
Yeah. I don't even know what that is in Celsius, but I'm going to imagine very cold.
I'm gonna say really cold. While you go to the next question, I'm just gonna think of that.
You're gonna like look that up.
I haven't even done the introduction yet. I was about to do the introduction.
Negative 48 degrees Celsius.
Oh my God. No, you would like lose some toes and some fingers.
Well, that's why the socks are on in bed.
Yeah. Very smart.
Yeah. It gets
well, Italy cried last time when you put pineapple on pizzas. I cry now about the socks debate. So I'm going to move this into that introduction. So before we start, guys, if you are here as well, please do consider dropping subscribe to the channel, turn notifications, like the video, share your friends, help support the channel, helps keep up to date with all the content. And also as well, the Lost Records Journal is available on all podcast services. So you can check us out on Spotify with the video version, Apple Podcasts. Go and check us out, go and rate us, and go and download the episodes. You get instant access to them as soon as they're available. And we're also on Patreon as well. So if you do want to support us on Patreon, it's always greatly appreciated from us. So Olivia, the questions are here. For context, guys, if we do not get to the questions, unfortunately, it's just time purposes, but we have got Olivia for a designated slot here. We will try and go through as many questions as humanly possible. There were a lot of them, and Olivia, I'll kick things off, obviously, first with our Patreon as well. So we had Kevin Lackner, who went on there and posted, who's a regular for us, and he asked this first question, which was, bear with me, what's the location that's missing in Lost Records? Or what location should be included in Olivia's opinion? Or what is one of Olivia's favorite places in the real world that you'd want to put into this game?
Oh, well, I don't feel like anything's missing in the game. I feel like if they nailed anything, it was locations. I was obsessed with the whole world that they created. What's my favorite place in the real world?
Yeah, that you'd like to put in.
Yeah. There is one right answer. There's a correct answer to this.
Oh my God, there is?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Oh no, now I need to know what you're thinking.
There is a correct answer to that question.
That you know of my favorite place?
Yes, of course.
If it involves like rabbits, is that
No, it's gotta be Philadelphia. No? Everybody loves Philadelphia. It's everybody's favorite real spot.
Okay.
Is it? Have you been to Philadelphia?
No.
What? Well, it's gonna be your new favorite spot.
No, I don't know. I've never been.
Next spot you go to.
I was like thinking way more specifically. I was like really thinking. I was like, is it my own bedroom? Like I don't. Like I don't know. What is my
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of love my own apartment right now. I'm really vibing with my own space because
Yeah.
I think it's because I'm in the process of decorating it because it's
Nice.
still missing so much. I mean, like you could see my office is pretty empty.
Yeah.
So, but I'm curating like my own space, and I love my space so
Yeah.
much. That's kind of my favorite right now. Would I put it in the game though?
Mm.
No.
Yeah. That's
I feel
interesting.
like I have like the worst answer to this, but I also really love like any place involving animals.
Oh,
So
okay.
like a zoo. I feel like Swann, I mean, she goes in
Yeah.
nature all the time, so she doesn't really like need to be going to a zoo. But but if she had like an adventure day with her friends,
Can I tell
I
you
feel like
something?
yeah.
Philadelphia is America's very first zoo. We have
Really?
the Philadelphia Zoo is America's very first zoo. So I will say
I'm
that.
gonna have to look this up.
Yeah,
Wow.
Philadelphia.
Good for Philly.
Yeah, first in liberty, first in zoos.
So
Amazing.
I like that we've established that this is going to be a very like thrilling interview so far / podcast chat because we've been stumped on the first question, but we'll take the zoo. So
Oh
Yes.
God, I'm
and
sorry.
no, you're fine because Kevin's not done yet. He asked for another question. I'm
Oh
going to
boy.
include it in here. So brace yourself for this. So Kevin asked as well, if Kat wouldn't end up where she ended up, what would have been her work / job as an adult? Maybe apart from the obvious animal theme, rescue theme.
Oh, I didn't even think that was obvious. I immediately thought like some kind of writer because she
Oh,
writes, does she not? She writes the song, she writes the lyrics.
yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So
specifically a songwriter, not just like a poet or anything.
I,
She has a journal.
yeah,
Could
she
write.
could be. I mean, I feel like I said writer just because I feel like she could go down any one of those paths: songwriter, poet, novel writer. I just feel like she's a creative person. She has a lot to
Mm.
offer, and she's got a lot. She's got a lot, and I could see her being a fantastic poet because she's got a lot of angst and pain and a lot going on in her personal life.
Sure.
So yeah, definitely writer.
Okay.
I like
Yeah,
that.
we can see that. Yeah.
So thank you, Kevin, for those questions as well. And I'll move on as well because this is someone who's very familiar for us, is Abby from
Mm.
Instagram. Abby does one of our other podcasts with us. And she put here as well. So it's, if Olivia's in it, I'm 100% watching it. My question to her, looking back, was there anything you wish you knew about Swann's character before you filmed / recorded? For
Mm.
example, adult Nora didn't wear a wedding ring, and there were texts indicating that she was divorcing her wife, which could have changed the way lines were delivered. And just for context,
Yeah.
obviously as well, Amelia also admitted that she like obviously didn't know certain things about Nora
Yeah.
because they added it in at a later date. But just in the sense of with Swann, is there anything you wish that you did know beforehand?
See, yeah, I remember Amelia and I talking about that there was like that key element. She's like, I
Mm.
never knew that might have like influenced how I delivered the lines. I have to say I'm pretty lucky. Like I kind of
Mm.
I knew they didn't like add in anything like post that I wasn't aware of. The only stuff that I really wasn't aware of was just like the space itself that she's living in. So when I was playing through the first half of the game, I was like, wow, there's so much stuff in here.
Yeah.
Like she's like, it's just I didn't know, I guess, the extent of her, like they don't tell you what they're putting in
Of her
the rooms and
hobbies.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, or her hobbies and stuff. But no, like anything that like I think would have changed
Mm.
the way I performed. It was pretty straight up. Yeah.
Do you think there was ever a time, you don't have to say a specific role, was there ever a time that you made a role and you didn't get the full details and it almost frustrated you afterwards?
Probably. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes. Well, working specifically as a voice actor,
Mhm.
you often don't like if you're going in for like smaller parts in video games and stuff, like you often have not a single clue
Mm.
what it is you're doing,
Yeah.
like who it is. They give you a very, very, very basic breakdown of your character, but you don't even know the game that you're in until later because it's usually under a code name.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So a lot of the voice work I do, I am completely not aware of. Like a big part that comes into play is I work a lot in dubbing, so I translate like a lot of Netflix shows and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I'm not like when we go in, we're often like reading it cold. Like
Mhm.
we haven't seen these episodes yet, unless you're a main character, they might send you the episodes in advance. But for the most part, it's like all cold reading, and so that
Yeah.
definitely like can be frustrating because I have a very, very, very limited, like I have very limited knowledge of what it is that this character is going through. And that can be frustrating to look back on, because sometimes I'll go watch the show if I'm like, oh, it looked really interesting. And then I go,
Yeah.
oh, I had no clue this was going on. That can be frustrating, but that's the extent of it.
Okay. Yeah. It's almost like they did you dirty, but you can't really say anything about it,
No, I mean, no, it's just how it goes. Like, it's
Yeah.
not anything that I would ever like complain about and be like, well, how did you know? No, like,
Yeah.
I also trust my directors fully. Like,
Yeah.
if they're like, okay, well, what you're doing is fitting into my vision, is fitting into the whole thing. Like, I trust my directors.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
more of like looking back on a project and going,
Oh,
well, I kind of wish I had known that.
yeah.
Might have changed the
Exactly.
way maybe I would have changed it up a little bit, or would have done this, or would have done that. But again, if it passed the director test,
Sure.
you got to let it go.
Yeah. Exactly. That's totally fair.
Mhm.
No, that's
Yeah.
a good perspective. And then I'm going to change this a little bit. So it's kind of bounce off that last point. This was from VADtoys on Twitter, or X, whatever it's called now. They put, throwing out there for a possible chance to ask Olivia, what are your thoughts about Nora's ongoing divorce? And then also put, on a different note, keep it up, Adnan, pure quality from you, Abby, and Falcon himself. Adam is Falcon. It's everyone thinks he's this YouTuber that's called Falcon from Game Ranks, and everyone thought Adam was that person because he sounds exactly like him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
Do you know
that's
Falcon?
so funny. No, me? No,
Okay.
no, I don't.
But like
I
you know
don't. But
of him. Oh, you don't know of him? Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
no.
they just heard like a nasally white guy, and they're like, obviously that's Falcon. I was like, no, we're just
Oh,
both
that's so funny.
nasally white guys. So like everybody thinks it because he hasn't shown his face at all. So everybody thinks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they haven't. He hasn't not shown his face to this day, and it's just like
And they're like, it's you. No.
they think it's me because I'm a nasally white guy.
That's so funny. Okay, so the question was, what do I
What
think,
your
or Swann thinks?
So what are your thoughts about Nora's ongoing divorce in the game? So it was kind of like teased about this.
Yeah, I always try to think, what would I think of the game and the characters had I not been involved in it at all, because my perspective is very biased. It's very different. I feel like as a player and as a viewer, I'd probably be a little frustrated because I love a good romance.
Mm.
And there was like a lot of teasing that, like, does she get with Swann? Like, what's happening? She's getting a divorce. Is this a door open to that? And I probably, as a player, would have been like, come on, get together. Like, come on, she's getting divorced. So, like, I think that could be, I don't know if that's something they're teasing for like the next game or whatever. Like, again, I don't know if the next game is happening, but not to like be super happy about divorce. That's sad for Nora.
Sure.
But for Swann, I thought, I was like,
make it move. You know?
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you're totally forgiven.
So does it make you
That's
happy?
it.
Also, does it make you happy for Snora then? That's the ship name. That what people
Snora. Snora. Yes.
What?
Yes.
Why not Swara?
Well, I thought your question was like, are you happy for them? And I'm saying yes. The name, I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like the boring couple. Oh, here comes Snora.
Yeah, it sounds like they fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of the ship names. They're constantly changing, but Snora is one of the popular ones. I think Amelia's words were Nora would love that. Teenage Nora would love that as a kind of name.
Yeah.
So no, thank you for that as well. And I'm going to kind of move forward as well, because this is a really interesting one. So this is from Jace, who's on YouTube. Jace has appeared on the channel a couple of times. He's put here as well. He's put, what was it like in the early stages of preparing for the role of Swann, mindset wise? What was it like being Swann in the recording sessions?
In the early stages specifically?
Yeah.
It changed, actually. The beginning, it was kind of presented to me that she was quite shy, awkward. So I was playing her very shy and like not quiet, just quiet. Yeah. And as we kept shooting, it definitely changed. And they were like, she's not quiet. She's just like quirky and different and in her own world. So that really guided my it was a redirect. I was like, okay, she's not shy. That's a big difference. She just kind of like blurts out whatever's like going on in her head. And that really, really, really shaped who she became, because I think it's not that she was like super lonely and couldn't make any friends necessarily. I think it was almost it's a bit of a choice. It's her character. Like she
Yeah.
is a bit of a loner and kind of likes it that way. So there was an element of sort of blending, like, is she shy, but is she just like a bit strange if people don't get her?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the beginning, was figuring out like who she is.
Yeah, do you
No,
feel
nice.
like you felt a lot more confident in your own, direction? Like your own
Yeah.
voice? Yeah, you found your own
Yeah.
voice in that.
Yeah, and because it was coming off a little bit like in the beginning. Again, it was just a redirect in terms of like what they envisioned for the game moving forward. But in the beginning, it was very like, she was really quiet and she didn't really want to like
Mhm.
voice her opinions and she didn't really want to say it upset anyone. And then I realized, oh, okay, they actually want her to like when she speaks, it's not that she's super like in her own little world. It's
Yeah.
she's just kind of like, I'm gonna try to fit in now, but I'm gonna say the wrong thing and it's gonna be weird.
Yeah,
Okay. Like,
that's
yeah.
yeah, no, that and you delivered it, like, fantastic, you know?
Thank you.
I think Swann, like, as Michelle said, it's more of, like, an image of himself, so it's, like, accepting who he is as a person too.
Yeah. And I loved that. I loved that they didn't go for this really shy, super duper insecure. I mean, she is insecure with certain things, but it almost felt a little like been there, done that to just make like a main
Yeah.
character that's just shy.
Yeah.
And not to say that's bad. It's not. I mean, I was a very, very shy kid growing up, but I
Mhm.
love that they gave her something a little bit more complex, that she knows who she is to a certain extent. And yeah, it's probably hard making friends,
Mm.
but she did. She does.
Yeah,
She
that's
does.
great.
Yeah.
And as Michelle's always said, he sees her as a positive introvert, which is always a nice thing as well. And that comes across in
Yeah.
your performance as well. And I'm going to bounce into that as well because Jace also dropped another line. I was like, I can't not leave this question out because it's at what point did you fall in love with Swann Holloway, the character?
Oh, right off the bat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I mentioned this in the last podcast. She just it's hard not to fall in love with like the first big thing you book.
Yeah, true.
And I was like, this is so me in so many ways. And I saw myself so much in this character that
Mm.
I was just kind of in shock that everything was unraveling, not unraveling, like coming together in the way that
Yeah,
it was. I just loved her from the get-go because I didn't go into this role going, oh man, this is gonna be a really hard one to figure out.
yeah,
And sometimes you do get those roles that are so challenging because they're so far from who you are
mm,
that it feels like you're putting on like a different skin,
yeah,
which can be very fun. It can be very fun. But it was nice to have this first really big project for me be something that felt quite close to me and meant so much to me. So I was instantly like, I'm in love with this project. I'm in love with this character. I'm in love with everybody a part of it.
yeah,
It was just a whole love fest.
yeah, and people love the character, and they love you as an actress. It's not like Thomas Feldman or Felton, Tom Felton, who
Tom Felton.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
who
I mean, I've always been very intrigued by playing a villain. I
yeah,
do one day hope to get to play a villain.
really?
And it could be so yes, because it's so
You
tough.
seem too
I don't know.
happy about this, like,
I
villain
know, but
characters.
well, listen, I'm an actor, and
Yeah.
it's fun to play these fun parts. But who was it that? Oh, I was recently watching an interview of like it's one of those villains that are just like you. It's so easy to hate this character, and it's a very popular TV show. And but they were getting a lot of hate in
Mm,
their personal life because people, and what I'm sort of learning as time goes by, they kind of marry you to your characters.
yes.
Hmm.
Like fans will marry you to your characters and kind of, they forget that
They're
there's a
2 separate
person.
entities. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a real human being behind that. And so as much as it would be, it's hard because if you're playing a villain really, really well
Mhm.
and people are hating you in real life, that means you're doing your job exceptionally well,
Yeah.
which is such a compliment, but also just like
Like
horrible.
like, dang, man. Like, that's the
You
thing. What oh, go for it.
Yeah.
um,
Me?
Oh, I no, I was just saying that, like, like, Adnan has full experience, like, hating Tom Felton because, he lives in England, so he sees Tom Felton every day walking down the street, going to coffee shops, and he always shouts,
Wait,
"Boo."
actually?
yeah.
Yeah. All
Oh,
of
you're
all of England is
my
just
God, don't do this to me. I'm so
yeah.
gullible.
So
Very much Swann coded.
I was like, wow, are you
yeah.
serious? You see him every day. I didn't care about the part where you're like
Everybody in England
yelling
knows
at
each
him.
other. It's just a small town, what
This
England
is a
is.
really small town. Wait, but in all seriousness, have you ever seen a Harry Potter cast member?
No, not that I know
Really?
of.
Dang.
Okay. See, it's not
I
that small there, you know.
I did.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Oh,
watched Game of Thrones?
yes, I love Game of Thrones.
So
Yes.
the guy who plays Sam was sat in front of me when I was watching a Manchester United match in
Wow.
the at
No,
Old Trafford Stadium. Yeah, that was quite funny.
oh, I would have been freaking out. I'm a very easily starstruck person, which is so pathetic of me. And I'm like, I I could be like one day if I make it like super successful and people know who I am everywhere, and I will still, I'm sure 1,000% be starstruck
Oh,
by
100%.
anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, and we would all be like, everyone said it as well after watching that first podcast. Like, is she really like? Am I just seeing Swann Holloway come through? I was like, no, you don't. We were watching it in real time. Me and Adam, when
Yeah.
we were watching the interview, Swann Holloway coming out. I was like, yes, that happens. And I'm just going to move this forward because obviously there's
Yes.
more questions
Yeah.
here. And one of them is from Instagram. This is from Celestial Desire slash Sav, and they said, yes, love this. My question for you, Olivia: what was the most difficult scene for you to record? There were some
Mm.
very heart-wrenching scenes that had us all sobbing. So I'm very curious for so I'm very curious how it was for you on the other side of the screen.
Oh, I love that question. I think the hardest was shooting or recording Cat's one of the branches where Cat gets pulled into the abyss.
Mm.
Mm.
That was so tough because I don't have you guys played that branch? Or all I
Yes.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't seen it, but
Oh,
when I was recording,
yeah.
there's like this really big guttural, like I think I screamed no, like as she's being
Mhm.
pulled in, and it was just like it never really had I had never done that before in like a
Wow.
professional context
Yeah.
of that kind of guttural scream of losing someone.
Mm.
That was really tough. And just anything to do with Kat's illness was quite difficult because I just remember there was like a few weeks we were going into the studio, and it was not just me, it was the other girls as well.
Mm.
And it was just like Phil having us cry for 4 hours straight.
Mm.
And he's like,
Wait,
if this isn't real to what?
sorry, this was Phil making you cry in emotional sense, not actual literal sense,
No,
right?
Just
yeah, no, as an
making sure.
actor, as an actor. No, sorry. Oh my God, thank you so much for calling
Continue.
that out. Yeah, I meant Phil as a director being like, this is where the character is at,
Yes.
cry. Like so and it was like, okay, I had to and like he would always he knew if it ever sounded fake, which is he's got a really great ear for that
How
stuff.
did
And
how did he deliver that direction? It's like did he give a stern like look like now cry? Or it's just like more
well, sometimes he would say funny stuff like that, but then that would just make me laugh and like wouldn't actually get me in the space. So like when we were being serious, it was really a matter. He works very closely with just like uh, almost a bit method in the sense of
Mm.
I had to pull on something real in my life, otherwise it just kind of came off
Yeah.
like not as authentic as it could be. And not to say I was like in the booth bawling the whole time because I
Sure.
was thinking of my personal life. I think at a certain point you kind of just like lock in with your character, but to kind of get into that headspace, you have to connect it to something real. Every actor works differently, but this is how I did it. He was really kind about
Mm.
getting me into that space. We would kind of set the mood with lowering the lights and all that. And if something was coming off fake, he would just stop and be like,
Mm.
are you seeing someone in your mind?
Yeah.
And every time he would say that, I'd realize, oh my God, I wasn't. Like
Mm.
I was just acting to act. Like
Yeah.
there was nothing there. And that's kind of my brain kind of clicking off if I'm too tired or something and going somewhere else. And then he would always kind of bring me back and be like, it's hard. Like, because naturally none of us want to be in a sad, depressive state. And we're always,
Sure.
especially in public, like we don't want to show those vulnerable parts of ourselves. So we're always pulling back. So it's
Mm.
very easy to like, I would say a line, I was so in it. And then the line's done and we're going on to the next one. And in that in between, it's very easy to pull out and just be like, go back to normal. And so I really had to stay in that headspace and with voice, it's like 4 hours at a time, 4-hour blocks. So it was 4 hours of just sessions of like crying and screaming.
Dang. Like actual literally 4 hours?
Yeah.
That sounds
I'm not kidding. And like, you could ask Amelia, you could ask the other girls as well. Like I remember like Amelia sending me like a screenshot of her with black like mascara. And it was same thing. Like we were in that, it was torture for these, like it was torture.
Amelia lost her voice. She told us in one of the sessions.
Yeah. A few of us did. I think she was not the only one. I remember like, there was one, I mean, I had told the story of like eating something spicy beforehand and that was a mistake, but there was other, like Natalie had to do some like crazy screaming stuff too. So it was really hard on the voice. Yeah.
I can imagine that's really intense. And obviously it's really insightful to hear each of your individuals' experiences because it's amazing. And this is I think this is a really deep question, this one. So this is from fordeuce on Instagram. And they asked, my question for Olivia: Swann's camera is a multifaceted tool that can act as a journal for memories, as well as a mirror that reflects who she is and how she sees the world. If you had a camera, what would you film, and what would that say about you and how you see the world?
Well, I mean, we all have cameras now, so I'm filming everything on my phone. I am that friend that's constantly filming and making content, and like I just over this past weekend, I shot like something with some friends of mine, and I was that girl I look like an influencer with my phone everywhere. So typically, I'm filming literally anything and everything that catches my eye. So it's usually my friends and family. So I love like candid shots of people and like scenery, kind of like Swann, nature. I take a lot of pictures of nature and videos of nature and just anything that I find like aesthetically pretty. Yeah. So
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Percentage of your camera roll, how much of it is your rabbits?
95%.
Yeah.
It's 95% bunnies, and it's bad because the storage there's like 20,000 photos on my phone, and it's like
95%
rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
95% bunnies, 4% Taylor Swift, 1% Olivia and business practices, things that she's done. That's what I think the phone is matched up to.
There's nothing like, I'm not saving Taylor Swift content on my phone, not usually. So I follow a lot of Taylor Swift fan accounts. Oh yeah. But no, it's bunnies and then just like the random like content I'm filming because I like posting things. Yeah.
See, I hope nobody tracks down my phone because I have some of the most heinous memes just saved on my phone. I'm just like no, it's just for my chef friends. It's just like the chef Adam. Don't worry about that.
So where the conversation's at right now, I'm going to pivot into this as well. And for transparency, people, Olivia hasn't seen any of these questions barring one of these two because we had to send this because otherwise she was never going to come back. But in Jace on YouTube understood the assignment because the question here is, which Taylor Swift song fits each girl best, including Dylan?
Okay, so I'm going to refer to my little paper here. So, because it took me a very long time to think this through. So I came up with songs that suit kind of each character. So I'll start with, I could say Swann, right? Like I'll start with Swann.
Yeah.
Okay, Swann. Okay. I went to Taylor Swift's debut album, A Place in This World. Now it was a tough one. It was a tough one, but it was A Place in This World. I mean, it seems a bit straightforward, but yeah. And then I've got Autumn. She's so tough. Every time Autumn was really tough to figure out. I have two. I have Daylight, just because I feel like it's like a wiser, just kind of realization of stuff. And then, or You're on Your Own, Kid.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like You're on Your Own, Kid.
I'm leaning towards Daylight.
Oh yeah?
I'm again like I feel like they're both fitting, I'm leaning towards Daylight a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like it seems like a bit odd at first, but like when you think about what daylight means and just like how Taylor's come to
Yes.
this kind of realization that you know, if you read the lyrics, you know,
Mhm.
it just feels like, you know, Autumn's the mom of the group. She's very mature. She's wise
Yes.
for her age. It just felt like it fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so we have Nora
Okay.
stuck between, I was stuck between two again.
Yeah.
We've got 22, just because it's like, you know, such a hype song.
Okay.
And she's very
Sure.
alive and she's loving life. And then I also chose Long Live
Oh,
because
that's a deep cut. I like that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
because of the ending and she plays a
Yeah.
song and all this stuff. Yeah. So Long Live was for her. And then we've got Kat. This felt really easy.
Hmm.
Um
Yeah.
there's a few options, but I loved the best Look What You Made Me Do.
Okay. Okay. I like
Come
that.
on. Come on.
Yeah, I
She
like that.
incites the whole like pushing into
Yeah.
the yeah, come on.
Okay.
She's rebellious. I knew her song had to be in Reputation.
Yes. But like
Yeah.
that's the thing. I was thinking like Nora is something in Reputation, but I don't know what.
Okay, so I thought of that too. I was like, would Nora be in Reputation?
Yeah. Because she's like,
But that felt too close to Kat because Kat's got all this angst. Kat's got all of this rebellious
yeah.
feelings throughout. Whereas I felt like Nora's a bit more.
I would say Nora's more 1989.
What did I choose for her again?
No. You chose.
Oh, I chose
22.
yeah, I chose 22 and Long Live. Yeah, I do feel actually Nora could fit somewhere in 1989.
I don't know.
I don't
Because like I like
style.
yeah, because like that's the other thing. Like Welcome to New York, that just the intro track to like 1989 feels more
Yeah, yeah,
Nora intro. You know. Uh.
that's true.
Yeah.
But that's kind of why I chose 22 because it's so
Yeah.
she like in that song it talks about being happy, free, confused, and lonely at the same time. Yeah, that's what she says.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I just like that she's got all of I don't know, felt like it suited her.
Okay.
Anywho, and then for Dylan, very tough.
Hmm.
I would be curious to know what you think, but I chose Bejeweled. And the reason is like it's easy to give Dylan kind of like some sort of villainous song or something.
Hmm.
But if you kind of you learn more about her when Swann's talking to her and filming her. And I just felt like personally, I felt very sad for her.
Hmm.
And I would hope there's like some not redemption arc, well, a bit of a redemption arc, like
Yeah.
Dylan's, you know, in a world where Corey's not involved because you know he isn't, and she's just like, okay, well, I'm still fabulous, I'm still great, and I don't need to
Hmm.
be with somebody like you.
See the song that just pops into my head. I don't know why. I don't have a specific reason why. Bad Blood for Dylan.
Yeah, I did think of Bad Blood for several of the characters.
Yeah,
I was
that's the
like,
thing.
Bad Blood just kind of.
It
I mean,
fits
if
all
it's
of them.
any of the relationship to Corey,
Yeah.
like that
Ooh.
works.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I
Yeah.
mean. I feel like Dylan would be more towards leaning towards Bad Blood than any of them. But yeah, I don't know. She's a hard
I
one.
guess.
Yeah.
She's a really hard one to figure out. And then I have like, sorry, there's probably another question. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
It's the other one.
Yeah.
The Taylor Swift thing always carries on. No, they're all very
Which
interesting
Sabrina
choices.
Carpenter song fits all of the characters?
Let's not talk
No,
about that.
I can't.
It's terrible.
Really?
You don't like her?
No, I absolutely
What?
despise her. She's terrible.
Why?
And her album
Well-
cover is the most ridiculous thing that I've seen so far.
That is
She needs-
very controversial. Yeah.
She needs to understand what satire is first. And I'm someone who watches satire all the time because South Park's one of my favorite TV shows, and it's
Yeah.
like that is not satire.
Wait, this is
to
so
bring that up.
interesting because I could actually talk about this for a long time because I recently, like I was talking to my parents and I was like, so there's this album cover and it's creating a lot of controversy. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about it, but I have feelings.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do. I think that's now sparked the narrative which is changing around her and the way she's telling her music. It's not, it's, you have to, with satire is very difficult now because like for me, as I said with South Park, even the creators have said it's very difficult to even make satire now because of the world
Yeah.
with Trump and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, for them, it's very difficult. And even now, I'm like, that is a very poor imitation of what satire is. It's like, come on. If you're going to play with that kind of theme and the way the cover's done, you need to make it more with a message.
Yeah. So I know this is so off topic, but I was listening to a segment from The View.
Yes.
And like, I think it's like Sunny Holston or one of the hosts on The View was like, what is this image telling young girls who don't know the context of this album, of her, of who she does? Like, what is this image telling young girls? And that kind of hit me. I was like, good point. Yeah. Anyway.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, I think, for example, Taylor Swift does things a lot better in the way that she sends messages. Like, if you look at the era-defining moments of her life and her career, it kind of paints you an interesting picture compared to this Sabrina Carpenter phase, which is very early in her musician career.
I mean, you can't even compare the two, honestly. I don't think you can, because Taylor Swift never sexualized her self and like never sold that she didn't use that to make herself really famous. And look, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that route of things, but as a young girl, I fell in love with Taylor Swift at like 12 years old. And I don't think I would have had it just been like her in tiny little bodysuits at that age. Like it would have,
with Taylor,
she made such,
it was the red lipstick. It was just like, embrace who
it was her red lipstick. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And she didn't, she didn't start getting like a little raunchier with her lyrics until much, I think closer to 30, honestly, that she started to like,
Taylor Swift's biggest transition was from country singer to pop star, and that was the kind of
but even then,
but
that was her biggest transition. But even then, like, she never did anything like crazy, like in terms of wardrobe choices or lyrics or anything.
Yeah, that's where my kind of thing was to fit into that, because that transition also defines her era. Because it's like, at least with Sabrina Carpenter, it's like Marilyn Monroe called and she wants her gimmick back. It's like, come on, we know what this gimmick is. It's like, come on, I might be a cynic.
He's not loving it. He's not loving it.
I'm just going to say that out there. But anyway, we'll move on as it is, because otherwise we'll go down a rabbit hole. But yeah, there's the one of the two Taylor Swift questions that will come in. But Olivia, bear with me with this one because it's a little bit longer. And it's just kind of give you some perspective. So this is from enbybearr, and they put as a question here. I apologize that my question is quite long, but I feel like it requires a bit of context to be answered if Olivia is unfamiliar with this reading. If you were to include this one, feel free to cut it down. Lol, here goes. I know that many players, including myself, saw a lot of traits in Swann that line up with experiences of autistic people. Her intense, lifelong interests in things like nature, film, and horror feel very much like autistic special interests, quote unquote. She struggles in a lot of social situations and expresses a difficulty in connecting to other humans in general, commenting that plants and animals are much simpler. She has several little animations like playing with her fingers nervously and swaying back and forth when she's energetic, which feels like a lot of stimming. Even the way that she constantly relates her feelings to her special interests, like phrasing her wish to the abyss around swarms of moths, feels very much like that's her own way of processing the world and her own feelings, because the quote-unquote normal ways don't really come naturally to her. Autism is actually underdiagnosed in girls and is often present in a more subtle manner, especially back in the 90s. It was seen as something that really that only really affected young boys. So a teenage girl like Swann would realistically never even been tested for it, and it would have been written off as being quote unquote weird. As well, we see in 2022 that her quote unquote weirdness is just a quirky teen thing. It's still as a core part of who she is, and who she's finally found a little small town in the corner of Canada where she's allowed to fully indulge herself. That's just who she is. All of that said, I'm curious if this is an interpretation of the character that Olivia had in mind while performing her, or if she's ever heard of it at all. If not, what does she think, even if it's not intentional? I know many autistic players really saw themselves in Swann, and that Olivia's portrayal went a long way in that. So thank you.
Oh, yeah, wow. That's a great observation, and I love that's been seen and noticed in her. I personally, so it's funny, this person mentioned the fiddling with the fingers and and that stuff, and I remember them trying to fit, normally when you're doing mocap, there's nothing like tracking your fingers. And then I was doing so much finger acting. They fitted me with gloves, and they were going to try to see if they could track my hands, but anyway, it didn't happen in the end. But I love that they still included it in their animation. And I didn't necessarily go into it thinking I'm going to do this because I think this character is on the spectrum or whatever. I think it just kind of happened. And it just felt natural for her and for me to
Mhm.
portray her that way. I love the idea that maybe she is on the spectrum.
Mhm.
And because of the times, you wouldn't have nobody would have really noticed or known,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are on the spectrum don't even know because they kind of like got through life and didn't have like any issues in school or
Mhm.
anything, or like, yeah, it wasn't anything that was like preventing them from like moving forward, I guess. But I feel like she definitely could be. I didn't
Yeah.
go into it thinking nobody mentioned it to me. I'll say that. Nobody said anything.
I will say, like, I like the points that sorry, NB Bear pointed out that like with young boys, especially in the 90s, they always like put us in the ADD spectrum. I was diagnosed with ADHD in my adulthood, but with girls, no,
No,
never talked
never.
about, because it's just like, well, they're just a little bit quirky, or they're a little bit too emotional, or like all this stuff. Their hormones are getting to them. So ADHD was never talked about, or
Yeah.
autism was never talked about with young girls. So yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, it wasn't, and still to this day, I have a
Still
lot
to
of
this
friends that are being diagnosed with. Uh, Actually, no, I know several people in their adulthood who are being diagnosed with
Mhm.
autism, and that they're a bit, on that spectrum, and also as well as ADD for a lot of my female friends because it presents so differently
Mhm.
in women and girls, and it's just not. There's a lot of medical stuff, we'll say, that's
Yes.
not as looked into
It's not
for women.
friendly to the women who need it, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, I loved that question and that observation because I think it's very valid and could be very true.
Mhm.
Also, as well, to add on to that as well, I think people align that because obviously, if you play the first Life is Strange, Max is a neurodivergent character, and they did that in that certain way. And just give you a bit of context as well, on that first podcast that we did, when I asked you if she walked in a certain way, I was aligning to this theory that there's some neurodivergent trait in Swann because they did that with Max, and they
I
made her walk
definitely
that way.
think there is though.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like I myself am neurodivergent, but I'm not on the autism
Mhm.
spectrum. So isn't I'm pretty sure there's like a difference in those terms, right?
Yes.
yeah. So they put everything under the. So basically, Asperger's is no longer used as a term because it was a very Nazi-driven derogatory term that was
Oh my
used to
god.
put people under an umbrella. So it was kind of like these people are like this. That's why we don't want to like they're going to be under this umbrella. So since then, they've now done ASD, which is autism spectrum disorder. So they'll put a lot of things under that, and then
Okay, okay, okay.
Mhm.
obviously ADHD is also separate as well, but they kind of put things into certain umbrellas, but make it so it's not Asperger's. So it's like when you say, for example, someone who is autistic rather than someone you say someone is an autistic person rather than you have autism. So you're saying that they are actually an autistic person rather than the fact that they've inherited autism. So you're trying to
Yeah.
be careful with language. So I probably butchered all that, but yeah, basically they split up. So mainly as well with ASD, that covers a lot of the stuff now that they put it under that umbrella because they see it as a
Mhm.
spectrum.
When I say I'm neurodivergent, it's something I learned recently, and just like that I'm a highly sensitive person, and that's like
Mm.
that's a thing. There's like a whole documentary on it.
Yeah.
And there's books and all that stuff. And it's classified as being like if you're an HSP, highly sensitive person, you're
Mhm.
neurodivergent because it kind of like there's things in there. There are people that are highly sensitive and they get misdiagnosed with
Yes.
autism
Yeah.
because there's just certain things that align. Anyway, I do think Swann is at least neurodivergent.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see that. So yeah,
Mm.
it
Yeah.
would make sense, and it's nice that even if she isn't, or if it's not explicitly said as well, that people can project themselves onto that because that is the
Yeah.
art of Michelle's storytelling, which is
Yeah.
most of those characters you can project yourself onto, which is a good
Mhm.
experience. So yeah, I'll move on, but thank you for that question. This is an interesting one, Olivia. So this is from Phantom Wheeler 81, and they put, "Hello, Olivia. I hope you're having an awesome day. You did a fantastic job as Swann in Bloom and Rage. My questions are: have you ever been to Michigan? And if so, have you ever had, so this is the word, it's Macinac, so it's Mackinac that is written, but
Mackinac.
it's pronounced Mackinac. Island Fudge or Werner's Ginger Ale?
No.
Yeah.
I've never been. I'll have to. Oh my God, I'll have to write that down. I'll have to get that from you. And you know what? I think I have to make a trip to Michigan for the sake of the game.
More specifically, you should go to Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, Ann Arbor is like one of the best college towns in the entire like United States. It's got
Oh,
everything.
okay.
Yeah, and like a lot of
Okay.
world-class people like go to Ann Arbor. In fact, I'm pretty sure Magic Johnson is from Ann Arbor.
Huh.
Yeah.
I know who that is.
Yeah. Well, he's not there now, but you know he was from there. But yeah,
He's from there.
yeah,
Yeah.
from Michigan. So yeah, Michigan's a great town, great state. It has towns.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
have to go.
yeah, we'll have to get you back on at some point, and then you can give the verdict once you've tried this.
Oh
So,
my God, once I've done the okay.
Yes.
done the Michigan trip. So
Yeah.
I'm going to move forward as well. This is from hellacerealcosplay on TikTok, and they put, if you could play any other character in the entire Lost Records universe, who do you think you would have been? Who do you think would have been the most fun playing?
Hmm.
You were amazing as Swann, by the way. She's quickly become one of my favorite video game protagonists.
Thank you. Who would I have played in the game? That oh my God. I.
I thought this was going to be an
Okay.
easy one.
Yeah, because you originally auditioned as Kat, but now you have some perspective on the other characters.
Yes. So I think I would have had a lot of fun playing either Dylan or Nora.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dylan is just, I mean, you know, I was talking about villains before, so she's not quite the villain, but she, you know, in certain aspects, she can be a little, and so I would have had a lot of fun playing her. Nora, initially, I remember auditioning thinking, oh God, thank God I'm not auditioning for her.
Yeah.
Because, and I auditioned with Amelia in the same room for the callback, and I thought she did such an incredible job. Like the way she took the words off the page. And it was insane. And I remember not I was surprised because when I had gotten the callback sides, which is the script, and I read like all the other characters and stuff that were involved, like I hadn't envisioned Nora that way. I had no idea. But then again, she had like a whole full breakdown on like who Nora is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I was just so like not intimidated, but I guess intimidated by the character in the sense that like I thought to myself, oh God, I'm glad I'm not auditioning for that because I don't have that like energy. But then as we kept recording, like through the years, I was like, oh my God, she looks like so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, that would just be so fun to play. Yeah. And I would now, like I would want to play that now.
See, I thought you would be like, well, I wanted to be the Corey character because I want to play the villain.
That too.
Yeah.
And I think in my mind, I blocked myself off from that because I was like, I'm not a man, so I can't do that. But that was a lot of fun for him to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Jordan did such a fantastic job, and it's just crazy because he's like the kindest, like gentlest.
Really?
Like when he speaks, he's so gentle and like soft. And then he would get into character, and I was like, this is different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that would be so fun to play. That would be a challenge for me.
Yeah. Well, you'll
That
get
would
your
be.
villain era. Don't worry about that.
I'll have my villain era, hopefully, like just in terms of acting.
Yes, not in real life.
I don't want to get canceled.
Yeah, well, if you ever take a trip to Philly, you'll fit the villain era there. Like there's a lot of villains you can like just jive off of, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to be very Taylor Swift villain era. I can see it. In terms of, you know, when she's in the bathtub and she's on the phone, it's going to be like that with all
Oh my God.
Olivia style. All the little Olivias that are going to be lined up.
Be like, the old Olivia was dead.
Yeah, we will be there for it. And I use that as a segue as well because this is 2 questions, and obviously the first question has been. This is the TheAshlynnX. Ashlyn as well. Olivia does know your first question because again, we can't keep this a secret from her. So the 2 questions here are: Hi Olivia, I want to thank you for being in this game. It means everything to me. My friends compare me to Swann, and it is the biggest compliment ever. I have 2 questions. What Taylor Swift song or any song would you use to describe Swann's relationship with each girl? And then, do you think Swann, Autumn, Nora ever saw each other again after their reunion?
Oh, can I? Okay, wait. I'm gonna answer the last one first.
Okay.
Yes.
I really hope. I'm like, please see each other again. I would hate the idea that they don't. I really think, I would think at least that Swann sees Autumn again. At least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Nora.
Mm.
Depends on how that divorce goes. I don't know. And then if she's on the rebound, like I don't.
Depends.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
So for the songs, I'm just gonna pull that up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I got this one in advance. Because if it was on the spot, you're not getting anything out of me. Okay, so her relationship to Kat. I picked "Bigger Than the Whole Sky."
Oh.
And I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Yeah, what album's that from?
That.
Oh no! I put you on the spot.
Midnights? It's Midnights, right?
Oh,
my God, let me
And she calls
look
herself a
this
Taylor
up.
Swift fan.
hot take.
Okay,
I'm not a Midnights fan.
Okay, wait, one moment. Bigger Than the Whole Sky album.
This is shocking.
Okay, it's the 3 a.m. edition of her Midnights album.
Okay, yeah, that's the other thing. Just like I'm
because it was like another edition.
Midnights, yeah.
I am and I'm not. Like
Yeah.
I there's certain, but anyway, I chose Bigger Than the Whole Sky just because like it talks about like losing someone and never knowing who they'll become. Yeah. And then for Nora, her relationship to Nora, I chose Invisible String.
Whoa. Okay.
Because of their like reunion. Yeah.
Okay.
And like you don't know I just feel like there's always something there with them.
You know,
so
with
they have
with
like
Snora, right?
Yeah, Snora. And then with Autumn, sorry, I have like the worst seasonal allergies, and there's like a lot of
yeah,
it's terrible. Okay, so with Autumn, I chose like 3 different things. It's so bad. Okay, because there's like a romantic aspect, and then there's the friendship aspect. There's too many branches, so I was like, how do I do this? So I felt like more for like the romantic aspect. I chose "Message in a Bottle," which is off of like her re-recordings, like her Volt tracks.
Yeah.
And because it's kind of like about crushing on someone and hoping they like see it. And then I was like, okay, but she could also be "I'm Only Me When I'm With You," which is from her debut album.
Yes.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And then the last one, I was like, God, "It's Nice to Have a Friend" from Lover. It's just nice to have a friend.
That is actually my favorite Taylor Swift album.
How?
Lover?
How?
Lover. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
How was Cruel Summer not picked between Kat and Swann here?
Ooh.
It's summertime.
Oh.
The relationship's there.
Yeah.
It's a cruel summer.
But like that's more of them like
oh my God, that's actually really cool too.
Yeah, with which character? With Kat? Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Like, because
Kat.
it could kind of work with "It's a Cruel Summer" because of what she's going through, and then they don't see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good too. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Because I see "Cruel Summer" as like a more like intense, like yeah. And I guess my mind was kind of straying to like the second half of the game, which is sad.
Yeah.
So I went sad, but I love "Cruel Summer" for Kat. And then who was the last one? Oh, that's it. No, I think I had done one for Dylan, but I think that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good picks, though. Good picks. Lacking some earlier stuff from the early albums, but we'll allow it though. So
wait, what are you talking about? I chose 2 songs from debut.
He's throwing you under the bus.
We'll talk about Taylor Swift afterwards.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, wait. I put songs from like almost every album.
Yeah, there's some
except for
earlier stuff that was missing though. I have a very controversial like opinion with Taylor Swift. Like it's just
How do I only have 2 albums on my iPod? That needs to be
you have an iPod?
Yeah.
An iPod.
Yes.
Okay, that is wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we move on as well.
Before we go into that rabbit hole.
Before we move on as well, actually, Olivia, just want to ask you this as well whilst we're on record. Were you one of those people who were like, I'm not listening to her old albums while she doesn't own them? Or did you listen to them? All right. Okay.
No. Re-recordings only. And like I knew too, like anytime I go into a coffee shop, they're particularly Starbucks. I don't know, Starbucks around where I live, they love Taylor, and that's got to be the workers. And I would always know, like anywhere I would go into, if a Taylor song was playing, if it was the original or if it was the re-recorded. And if it was the original, I was upset.
Oh.
But now we don't care. We support, we love.
Yes.
We'll have to talk about this off podcast. I've got some controversial hot takes with Taylor Swift and the iPod.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because we've got a lot of questions here as well. I'm going to keep going forward as well. So Olivia, I'm going to go here as well. So this is, hi Olivia, thanks so much for taking fan questions and for all your thoughtful answers in your last interview. I loved your performance in Lost Records. I have multiple questions. Any of them answered would be amazing. So I'm going to pick one of them here. It's if you could play a character in Bloom and Rage, I think you might have answered this. You answered this in the last one, actually.
I answered that.
Yeah, I'm going to change it to the other one. So the dance scene was my favorite scene in the game. Was it choreographed with rehearsals, or did you do it all freestyle and dancing? And before you answer that, and whilst you think about it, I'm just going to add this for Adam because it'll throw him a little bit. Also, hello to Adnan, Adam, and Abby, long-time lurker, been tuning into Strangecast since 2020. That's how other podcasts me and Adam do. First-time commenter, thanks for all your work, as well as bringing the fan base such great content. That also made me feel very old because it's been 5 years, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. But yes, Olivia, the dancing sequence.
That was like when they're floating, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, that was there was no choreography. No, we were just floating. We were just doing our own thing. They played music, so we did our own thing.
So what I'm hearing is that Philip said, "Now cry, now dance."
Now dance. Yeah, it was pretty much, that's exactly how he directs. It was just, now act. Like, yeah. No.
Yeah.
But he's a funny guy. So sometimes that was the direct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just dance. Just, I don't care. Just dance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, unfortunately we didn't have I'm glad we didn't have a choreography for that. It's meant to be very like ethereal and its own thing, and it's not supposed to be anything like rehearsed or practiced or anything.
Yeah.
Did you know it was a reference to Buffy? Because we've learned this more afterwards.
Unfortunately, I have not.
Yeah.
I have not seen Buffy.
No.
I'm a little too young.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I think I missed the Buffy era. Yeah.
You should have been born earlier.
I should have been. Yeah.
Why didn't you? How could you?
We're only a few years older.
I'm gonna talk to my parents.
Anyway, let's continue. So we got Christian.K.2022 on Instagram. 22, Taylor Swift reference there. Hi Olivia, love your performance. I'm going to go for one of these questions out of all of them. I know you mentioned before you bonded a lot with all your co-cast members, but is there anyone you singled out whom you really bonded with during your recording?
2.
No.
I bonded with 2.
Oh.
I mean, all of them, but in particular, Amelia and Victoria, who plays Dylan.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you excited?
And also, like, sorry?
I was. Were you excited when you saw her in the music video?
Yeah, that was so cool. And it was so funny because she had no idea. Victoria had no idea she was recording a video that was related to the game, which was insane. Like that casting just happened. Like it just kind of came about. And like, so we were at like the rap party and they were playing the music video and then Victoria was on the screen in the music video and everybody was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, it was so crazy. So crazy.
Yeah.
It just happened that way.
That's
also, I will say it's probably easier that I think that bonding happened too because they live in Montreal. They live where I live.
Yeah.
And the rest of the cast is in Toronto, so it's just harder.
Man. There must be so much hate against Toronto from Montreal, yeah.
I wouldn't say there's hate.
As much hate as the Canadian is capable of.
I mean, there's definitely like this thing between Montreal and Toronto actors. I think Montreal has like a lot of envy for just like the Toronto scene as a whole.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lump myself in there. I love where I live.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is this feeling of like, because Toronto gets a lot more work, unfortunately, than we do. So
see, because we have in Pennsylvania, we have a rivalry between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. of which town is crappier and more filthy and which
Oh,
people are the worst. So we're always a
oh,
rivalry. Yeah. Mhm.
oh. Yeah, I mean, definitely don't think we're crappy. Montreal is actually a really beautiful place.
Yeah.
But then you've got Montrealers that say like Toronto is horrible. It's like a
Yeah.
brick city or it's like a cement city or whatever. Like everybody has a different opinion.
I always say that Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that show, it is 100% an accurate depiction of what Philadelphia is like. So take that
Oh
with
man,
what
I
you can
haven't
get.
seen that show either.
Yeah, if you watch it, that's what Philly is like. Like
Okay, got it. Got
I
it.
told that to somebody. He's like, "Oh my god, I had to shower after I watched that show." I'm like, "Yeah, that's Philly."
Oh my god.
It's awful.
Says a lot.
Well, I'm not there anymore, so now I'm a new man.
You're a new man. Yeah, I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's before Philadelphia,
I'm going to pull it back to Michigan at this point. So we
Oh,
continue on
Michigan.
with some of the questions.
Yes.
This one's from Tremello333 on Instagram, and they put, my question to Olivia. Now that the game has been out for a while and you've seen people's reactions to Swann, why do you think so many people feel an emotional connection to Swann and her personality? What traits make Swann such a relatable character?
I have theories
Oh.
on this. I have thought about this. Mainly because of like I was talking to some friends and I was like, I get a lot of beautiful fan messages of people relating so much to Swann. And we talked about like, I wonder why and stuff. And I think it was so brilliant of Michelle to have created a character like this. And look, I'm by no means trying to stereotype the gaming community because I just don't know enough about the community to even have a stereotype. But I imagine that those playing this game, I mean, you're kind of gravitating towards this type of game because maybe you feel very similarly to Swann. And I think what Swann's going through and just who she is a very, very, very universal, relatable feeling. I think a lot of us are very introverted. I mean, like, how many people do you really know that are crazy extroverted? I think most of us. You're saying you?
Unfortunately, I am extroverted.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not saying they don't exist. I mean,
But
I've got several friends.
Adnan definitely is more of the introverted side. I'm not saying it as an insult, but like I am definitely out there, very crazy, very Philadelphia. But Adnan definitely like is not.
I would be Swann. He would be Nora, essentially.
I would be Nora. Absolutely.
We would be Snora, me and him.
That's why you two work.
We would be Snora.
We would be Snora. No, but that's why you two work so well together.
Yeah.
But my point being is I find more often than not, I am meeting people that are like, oh, I think I'm an introvert. And like, the truth is not, a lot of people say they're introverts. It's not necessarily true. Like there are like real introverts. But
he is like,
yeah,
definitely introverted. Yeah. So she relates a lot.
Yeah. So but the fact is that a lot of people see themselves as introverts, even if they don't necessarily fit the criteria. But I think a lot of people love being by themselves sometimes and having their own space and doing their own thing. And I don't know, loving nature is also extremely relatable.
Yeah.
And I think people see their quirkiness that maybe they hide from others in Swann. And they have this character that's the main character who's just a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I think that's just such a beautiful representation. There's so many reasons I think she's relatable, and like I relate so much to her, and I'm not even necessarily an introvert on her level, but I see so many things about her that I'm like, I wish I had this growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with that. That like I would say people who gravitate towards Michelle's games like definitely feel a sense of just like I want to fit in,
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I think that's what I was trying to say. It's like I don't want to say the wrong thing. Like I don't want to say like
oh no, your answer was very offensive. We're all gonna cancel you here after the podcast. Yeah.
I knew it.
I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do.
I'm not meant for this life of fame.
Forget about Sabrina Carpenter. It's going to be Olivia Lepore on TikTok getting
Yeah,
cancelled
I'm gonna
instead.
be on all headlines.
But no, it's true. Like you're wanting the sense of how do I fit in? Not like I don't fit anywhere, but just like this figuring out like where do I fit in? Whereas like
Yeah.
me and Nora, like I relate a lot to Nora because like she puts herself out, but in the inside she's scared. Like she's scared, like absolutely.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't want anybody to reject her. So she puts herself out so nobody rejects her. And I'm like, yeah, that was me in high school. Like those years, I was Nora for sure. But yeah,
It's funny at their core, they're both kind of the same
they're the same
people.
two sides of the same coin. It really is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like your answer as well, and I'll move it into the other question. But I will
Yes.
say as well, when you said that some people like think they're introvert, they're not. If you know Michel, for example, you know he's an introvert. So it's
Yeah.
like you know
Yeah.
where characters match what he's writing. So I think it's completely right what you're saying, where it's like you do meet people and you're like, I'm an introvert. It's like,
Yeah.
no,
And
no,
if
no,
you
come on. Like,
even if you met my wife, you haven't because she doesn't like to meet people. So
Oh, look, you're like so extroverted and you found yourself a super introvert.
there's this one time where like I'm just talking to people no matter what. We were in a store one time and there was an extroverted, like he wasn't hitting on her. An extroverted guy, like, hey, how's your day going? She just bolted, dude. Like she's like, uh-huh. And she bolted. He comes up to me and we're like exchanging phone numbers, talking about the weather, and be like, oh, Philadelphia's great. My wife comes like up to me and he's like, oh, that's your wife? I'm like, yeah. It's like, I tried to talk to you. You didn't say anything. She's like, just doesn't. So I do all the talking. I'm just like, I'm there for her and making sure that like she's heard and all that. But yeah, my wife is very, very introverted. So I see Swann like a lot with my wife.
Yeah, and I love that because I I kind of relate to I'm like whoever is my future person, I'm like they need to be extroverted because I'm not like mega introvert, but I am not that person that wants to
Yeah.
like chat with everyone. I consider myself an introvert. And
Mm.
and I see how like Swann gravitates to these girls who are mostly extroverted.
Mm.
And it makes sense to me.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. It's just like it's very much like you find people that not speak for you, but like help you find your voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's cool. And I'm going to move it into
Yes.
last end because I know we have you for a certain amount of time. So there's a couple more questions as well. So this is from @RaoulChat 2021 on YouTube. And I'm going to take two questions from them as well. I'll ask you the first one, which is if you, Olivia, were in place of Swann in the game, would you have made the promise to quote unquote never see each other again at the very end of the game?
Would I myself make that promise?
Yeah.
To never see each other? If I really, really had to.
Yeah.
No. I
Oh.
think I would have put up a fight.
We just see
I'd be
Amelia
like,
getting dragged
no.
into the abyss, and it's like, oh, that ended well, didn't
See,
it?
I'm just seeing you like everybody's making that promise, and you're just in the corner. No, I'm
Nope, nope. I still want to see you guys. That would literally be me.
happening
But like,
flash
I
the
know.
windows. Yeah.
But I know that they were like losing their memory or something like in that moment, and they like had to not. I don't remember everything, but they had to do that. But like Olivia, I would be like, "This is ridiculous. Why?"
Yeah.
Speaking of Olivia as well, I'll bounce it into the second question of that, which was, if you could call future Olivia like Swann and ask her one question, what would you call her? Oh, sorry, would you call her? If yes, what would you ask her?
Future Olivia. Ooh. Oh, I love this. Ooh.
Yeah.
What would I?
Is Taylor Swift
It?
still
Here we
making
make
music? And what year is it releasing? What are the lottery numbers?
Did we
What are the
collab with Taylor
no?
Swift?
What? Can we, guys? Let me think. Wait. Like the first thing that pops up in my head is like, are we fulfilled? Like, are we happy?
Oh.
Yeah.
Did I make a life out of what I love most in this world, which is my art?
Yeah.
That would be the first question, but that would be very bad to like, I wouldn't, if I actually like, they were like, Olivia, you can make your call right now, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
because that's dangerous.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
fair.
Yeah,
Playing
fair.
with Destiny.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
all kinds of things happen in that game, including Destiny, but these are some other questions I've got here for you as well. So I'm going to move into this one, which is from @Mariwad4615 from YouTube. There were a couple of things, the one here that we've already answered, but I'm going to go with this one. It's going to put you on the spot again. Which girl did you think Swann had the best romance with, and why?
No, I'm not answering that. Next.
Well, unfortunately, the other question from them is, do you still keep in contact with a cast, and who is your favorite person to work with? Which I think is even more from Gasoline of the Fire.
Who's your favorite?
Who is your favorite? I do keep in touch with all of them.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
some more than others, but
just sending text and that. I can't believe you took my role away as Kat. Can't believe it.
No, but yeah, we stay in touch.
You can't name your favorite though.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
There you go.
Yeah.
How about if
I mean, look, I've already told you who I click with the most and who I still talk to the most, and you guys know that.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Read between the lines.
Yeah, okay. We'll have to leave Mariwad. You're gonna have to leave his question out now. So the other one was, would you ever do a playthrough of the whole game on the channel? Which, if I could arrange that, it'd be fantastic. But
wouldn't that take like forever?
Yes, probably. Yeah. we'd be over tech calls, being like, Olivia, you're walking into a wall. It's like, well,
wow.
But like, I would not.
We just called you a noob. How do you feel?
Yeah, I know. What I meant was the game is long,
Yeah.
but you were like, yeah, I know you don't know how to play games. I feel attacked.
Yeah. What is your favorite video game of all time, if you have one?
There we go. A noob would take the stand. That's what happens.
Just gonna say Death Stranding.
Mario Kart.
Okay, fair. Which Mario Kart?
I love a good racing game.
Yeah.
Anything to do with like driving, I'm obsessed. I grew up like playing on PlayStation. I had like this like actual steering wheel with the pedal and everything, and I had one of those games. Those race. I still like if somebody brought me that game today, I would just start crying because it reminds me of my childhood.
Was it Gran Turismo?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like it was just you got to pick fancy cars and drive around a track, and
sounds like Gran Turismo. Yeah, for sure.
Probably. And like I had the whole wheel and everything. It was just like as an 8-year-old, that was the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And now my sister has like a Nintendo Switch, and like all we do is play Mario Kart.
Nice.
Here's a question then for you in between this. So you're playing Mario Kart and you have all the Lost Records members playing it, so the cast are playing it. Who is getting on the final 3 podiums, do you think, based on their experience in video games?
Oh my god, I don't even know their experience in video games, which is really funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if they play. I guess I never thought to ask, hey, do you play video games? I know Amelia, I mean, like, she has told me that she doesn't. So me and her both were like, we don't even know what we're doing with the controller, like when we tried to play our game. Yeah. So I'm gonna say she's not on the podium.
Oh, no.
Okay, you know what? We'll put Jordan up there. I'm gonna assume he's played a few games. I don't know. That might be sexist.
Jordan Dawson strikes me as the guy in Mario Kart who's near the end and then gets the blue shell and throws it and hits first place and then drives past them, Corey style.
I will say I'm somewhere on that podium. I'm like maybe first or second.
Yes.
I'm really good at Mario Kart. Who would be I'm gonna say, I don't know, maybe Natalie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like Natalie.
Sure.
Gets it, you know?
Yeah.
You could also see that as well. You can see like Natalie's car smashing into Jordan's because it's that boxing style thing.
I could see that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Gets run off the tracks.
Gets run off the tracks, yeah.
Oh dear. I'm going to move into another question here as well, Olivia.
Yes.
So this is from YouTube again. It's from Red Fate YT, and they put, "What was the dialogue between the girls that made you laugh the most? Thank you very much for your incredible work. You are a wonderful person as Swann."
Thank you. The dialogue between Oh no, there was too much for me to remember. It was funny because I was just watching a clip the other day and I was like, oh my God, I forgot I recorded that. And now I can't remember what it was.
Oh no.
It was like some ridiculous line she says, like one of her Swann's one-liners, and that I was cracking up. Oh man, I don't remember.
There's just too much, and
There's
you get put on the spot.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much funny stuff. Right now, I'm like thinking of like when they were in the cabin and it was really funny to shoot. It was not funny, it was actually scary, but to shoot the knife game.
Yes.
Between the fingers, like that
5 fingers
obviously we weren't obviously we weren't shooting with a knife, like, but even just like the prop that was being used, I remember being like really scared for Nat.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh God. And like if it were me having to do that, it would just be like ridiculously slow and it would be very bad. But that made me laugh. Honestly though, Natalie made me laugh every time we shot mocap.
Really?
To the point where I was like breaking character. And I remember Phil being like, okay, so let's try not to make Olivia laugh. Like, when we're... And I don't usually break. And just Natalie was like, she always made me laugh every take. So it was more like the in-between stuff that I think like cracked me up the most. Yeah.
That's fun.
That's pretty. Was Nat's personality very similar to Kat's in real life as well?
Ish. You'd have to ask her that. Like, I don't want to speak for her.
Well, she has
there's like a feistiness.
Yeah. They have the open invitation here, so.
And to Jordan Dawson. But,
and Jordan Dawson, yes.
And Andrew Carter. And everyone. And Phil.
Well, you'll have to, yeah. Oh my God. Have you tried talking, like getting in contact with Phil?
Not yet. But
He's a
Phil,
busy guy. He's so busy.
Yeah. You'll hear from me at some point, I'm sure. They always do.
And that's
they always do that.
You'll hear from me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is a
no, I mean, Phil would be like, if you get Phil on the podcast, oh my God, I'll be the first one listening.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I myself would love to interview Phil.
Yeah.
Like if I had just like 3 hours and I'd be like, okay, here's my list of questions. Like I just want to know everything about like.
Why did you make me cry for 4 hours? Why?
Because he's a fantastic director. But there's just so much I'd want to know about being a video game director and how he got into the field, and I would be very, very curious.
Yeah.
So yeah. So if you can one day, that would be so cool. But yeah, he's busy, directing everything.
I would feel like my question one is like, could you beat Olivia in Mario Kart?
Could you? He for sure can. I'm just like he is a video game dude. Like,
well, he's too busy directing that he doesn't play enough games.
That's true. Maybe I've gotten like really good at it.
Perhaps he's just a noob himself.
Maybe he's not a Mario Kart guy.
Oh no, he definitely is. He strikes me as a Luigi player, doing like Luigi camera, where he's like driving past.
I'm always like,
business.
Who's the? Okay, wait. I'm so bad at the names of the characters. The little turtle dude.
No.
Bowser or Koopa or
Koopa. It must be Koopa.
He's tiny.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
I think it's Koopa
Trooper.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, him. I love him.
That's so Swann.
He's so cute. I just literally I go on my camera and I just pick like the cutest, tiniest little character.
They ever play as Toad?
Yeah. Oh, that must be who I was also thinking of. It's those two.
Yeah.
Those two.
Toad and Koopa Troopa.
Toad and the Koopa Troopa.
I respect those. Respect them choices.
Yeah.
Olivia, we got Gabby the baddie, who's here on YouTube, and stomping all over everyone here by saying, "What would you like to see happen to the girls if there was a continuation to the game? So happy for a new interview."
What would I like to see happen? I personally would love if Swann did actually develop like some sort of romantic connection with one of the girls.
Oh, come on, spill it.
Well, it depends because it depends on what timeline. Like,
for all the variations. Come on. We want to hear this. The grilling's starting
Like
now.
if it was adult, like if we're just talking about adults, like if Nora's going through a divorce, then I'd be really interested to see what happens between them.
With Snora.
Because with Snora, yeah. Um, and then what's interesting is I really want to know what happens. Like obviously that end credit scene, like when she's going to look for Kat in the abyss, like yeah, it would be adult timeline then. So like, oh man, yeah, I'd really want to find out what's in there. Like it's Pandora's box. Like,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
actually
I
a
would want to
KFC
open
down
that
there
up.
too.
There's a
There is a
KFC.
KFC
Okay.
down there. It is confirmed by
Okay.
Go. Yeah.
Well, at least they're being well fed.
Yes.
Doesn't sound unhealthy at all.
No, not at all. Not
Yeah.
KFC at all. No.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Michelle's probably at home now writing down Olivia's ideas. Like, this is a cool idea. Perfect.
I mean, I would really want to see Kat, if Kat could come back, if Kat can be found, if Kat, something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tie it into the next question here as
Okay.
well, which is, my question, this is from Deadman 2801, and they said, my question to her has got to be, what does she think happens after the ending, especially that small cliffhanger? P.S. Does she mind me getting a Swann's full arm tattoo?
Oh.
Do it.
Yes.
Do it. Get the full arm tattoo. Yes. Also, if somebody actually does get like any kind of Swann tattoo or gets the character, I want to see it. So tag me, please.
Yeah.
People have
Send
done
me
it,
a
by the way.
message.
People have done it. Some people have got the tattoo already,
Oh,
like the full arm tattoo.
Yeah.
that is really cool. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, what do I think happens at the end? So yeah, I guess that's kind of like I'm guessing Swann dives in. She swan dives.
She Swann dives. Yes.
She goes into the abyss and there's something there. I just really want to know more about like what the abyss is all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And is Kat there?
Oh. Is there a cat fried chicken?
KFC.
KFC.
We're going back to the KFC.
We are going back to the KFC. There is a KFC.
Something tells me you like KFC.
Well, I'm a vegetarian. That was very hurtful.
Oh my God.
How dare you? You're canceled.
You're
Wait,
a vegetarian talking.
Yeah. We talked about this multiple
I
times.
swear you.
That's so funny.
We talked about this like 3 episodes.
Yeah, but everything was a revelation to me. Like, you told me you were a pastor once. I was like, well, Adam's Jewish as well.
10 years, yes.
So basically, our
Wait,
other
really?
Yes.
So in a nutshell as well, like our other co-host Abby, she's a sapphic, she's a lesbian Jewish woman, and Adam is Jewish and also being a pastor. And once he said to me, she's like, "Why is Adam a pastor or has been a pastor when he's Jewish?" And I was like, "That's a good question." So I don't really question things anymore when he says it to me, because it's always something else. I'm like, "What's happened here today?"
I lived a life. Yes.
Okay, I didn't know you guys had another co-host.
Oh yes, that's her. Yes, that's Abby. So
Okay,
Abby does.
and Abby did the interview with Amelia.
Yes, that was Abby. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So basically, it's the three of us. We're almost like a bad joke. The three of us, me, Adam, and Abby, of like variations of different things. It's like, yeah, it's like
we're a AAA studio.
Yeah,
triple. Love it. Yeah, did I answer it?
I guess.
I think so. Amid that, I know obviously we've got time as well. If you got time for 2 more questions, I can throw them to you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm
no
gonna
problem.
put this one in here. It's at Blippy3824, and they put in here as well. I thought actually there's quite a few questions there, but I'm gonna do the one. How hard is it to get used to acting in a mocap suit on a motion capture stage?
Takes a few sessions.
Yeah.
It is strange. There's a lot of technical stuff to learn at first, and it takes time, but you do a few days in studio, full 8-9 hour days, and like I won't speak for everyone, but for myself, it just took a few days, and then you're like, okay, I can do this.
Yes.
Yeah, there's always gonna be like, there's always new little things I'm learning, like, oh, okay, don't move this or don't do that. Yeah. So, but no, it's so much fun. I loved learning. I loved it.
Nice.
And then final question here, I think, as well, before we wrap up, and also shout out to people like Amy Lucio 10 and also Amico 1998. They asked very similar questions to other ones, so we haven't picked them, but we tried to get as many as humanly possible in here. But the last one here is from @Paul UK 11E on YouTube, and they put, "We love Olivia first off. Where
Oh,
where did the Gizo
oh.
come from? The writers or what people said in the mid-90s? I've never heard it. Thanks for doing these podcasts. It's neat to learn about doing voice work. Hello, bunnies. They need a shout out too."
Oh my God, thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Where did Jizo come from? You'd have to ask the writers. I genuinely don't know. But I'm just assuming that they were like, okay, yes, this isn't like a saying that's particular to any point in time. It's very much like a Swannism.
Yeah.
I just think it's that. Like they had to make something particular for her. Oh my God, I think I just remembered something silly that I said on the phone. It was like on the scene where she's calling her friends in like the second tape 2.
Ooh.
I think it's in tape 2. And this just triggered my memory. I was like, I forgot I recorded this. And she says something like really silly when she's like answering the phone to her friends. I think it's like sup something. I don't know if you guys remember. The fans are gonna remember this, but like,
Oh yes,
there's
What
so
you're
many like
saying is that
silly
we're
little.
not real fans. You guys won't remember it. Only real fans will remember this.
I think it's also in tape 1 when they're on the phone.
Is it in tape 1?
Yeah, where
Maybe you're probably right. It's probably in tape 1 where she calls them for the first time.
Yeah.
she's on the phone. She's on the phone.
Oops.
Because before
Strike 3, Olivia. You're off. Get out of
throw her
the
in the disc.
Guys, look, I'm an actor. I'm not a professional video game player, okay? I don't remember like most of what I did. Anyway,
Yes.
all this to say, she has a lot of random, silly, awkward things she says.
Yes.
And I think Jizo is just like her signature one.
Yeah.
I like that. And obviously now we're at the end. Obviously we'll do our outro and the Patreon shoutouts. But before I do that, Olivia, I'm going to throw you one last left curve here. So obviously you went to the Eras tour in your lifetime. I know it's almost a 1 year anniversary. I think it's a 1 year anniversary in the UK. I think she was in Liverpool 1 year ago this month. You went to the Eras tour with Leanne, right? And
Yes.
out of nowhere, a portal just opened up and Swann Holloway landed next to you whilst you're on the Eras tour. Michelle might be writing this, but something's happened here. Like she's just landed next to you, and you're like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go with it. And the Eras tour is going on, right? At what point in the Eras tour, which song is playing where Swann just turns around and is like, Jizo? What's that reaction be?
Probably during. Sorry. Reputation. So when Taylor walked out for the very first song of Reputation, she's got like this strut that she's doing, and then she goes into Ready for It. And yeah, are you ready for it? Jeez.
Jizo.
And Swann would just be like, "Whoa, like what is going on here? This is wild." And she would say, "Jizo."
There you go. Perfect. I mean, that's a good way to end this because it's all been like messed up towards the end. We've all fallen apart. Thank you everyone for submitting your questions. Obviously, we didn't get to every single one of them, but we tried to get through as many as humanly possible, and it was amazing as well. And before we round up here as well, a shout out to our people on Patreon. So we have Kevin Lackner, Sundy, Clare, McLoughlin, YellowFlash, and Jake Churchill, who have all signed up to the Patreon. So thank you so much for that and the support you give to the channel as well. Olivia, thank you so much for coming back on. It was an absolute pleasure having you here. And
thank you. Thank you to all the fans that sent in questions and to anybody who cares. Thank you so much. I love you.
Oh no, it was absolutely amazing to have you in here. And the questions were amazing as well. And thank you for the Taylor Swift infused questions, because that's how I coaxed her to come on here. I was like, there's definitely going to be Taylor Swift questions on here. And I was panicking the last 24 hours, saying to Adam, maybe I need to like set up some burner accounts and put some fake Taylor Swift questions in. But no, thankfully people did ask Taylor Swift questions. So I think that's naturally where we can end here. So thank you everyone for joining. If you are new here, one more time, please do consider dropping subscribe to the channel, turn notifications, like the video, and share your friends. Help support the channel, and also as well, the Lost Records Journal is available on all podcast services, so you can check us out on Spotify with the video version. Apple Podcasts, we're available on everything, so go and check us out there, download us, you get instant access to the episodes as soon as they become available. Olivia, one last time, absolute pleasure catching up with you.
Sorry, I'm just like,
no.
I'm like,
I think we talked about it in another the other podcast afterwards. We were like, you guys didn't see it. There was one moment after we finished it, Olivia just like lifted her phone up slowly, and it's like, it was so Swann. And me and Adam just like, yeah, we're going to embrace this and acknowledge it. But no, thank you. We absolutely have a blast with having you on here. And obviously, thank you for answering all the fans' questions as well. I'm sure they'll love the responses.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No
No,
problem.
and I
Thanks
think,
for coming back on.
Of
yeah,
course.
we have a blast with you, and it's amazing. So thank you so much for coming on here. And guys, as well, stay tuned. We'll be back again in the near future with another Lost Records Journal episode. Until next time, guys, take care. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Later.